I just wanted to touch on what we call holiday or vacation time, or as we clinicians or parents call it, change in routine. Sometimes it's an exciting thing, but sometimes it's a scary thing because change in routine is always very unpredictable with many of our clients. Sometimes they'll do really well with it, and sometimes they won't. But we always need to be prepared for that worst moment that might happen. Sometimes we over prepare and we do fine and things are great and the child's making a lot of progress in therapy, and so you can take them out to different places like restaurants, be on the road at places that you don't normally eat, be in the car, and your kiddo will do well. We oftentimes see this when clients have been in therapy for a while. That whole process is much easier. But then there are times that for some particular reason it's just not a good week and things are difficult, or your kiddo's newer in therapy and we're kind of readjusting his nervous system. So, optimally, when you tear down somebody's ability to function, even if it was a dysfunctional way, and rebuild it, that can be a difficult time. I always tell our parents sometimes things get worse before they get better. But let's talk about those unpredictable times. Whenever you're planning any type of hiatus from your home environment, your normal routine, you have to plan for those things. And I think it's important, parents, to think particularly about your own child and what things are difficult for them. For each one of you, you're going to have a recipe of different things. So it's important to make this specific for your own child and just spend a few moments reflecting on what things are going to be difficult in this change for my child if that happens to be occurring. So sometimes you're traveling via car, sometimes you're traveling via air, and sometimes you're just away locally at a relative's house. So things we want to think about, food is always a big issue. So make sure that you have things available for you that are quick to kind of remedy that situation. I don't consider it rude to bring things that are appropriate for your child when you know your child is not going to eat certain things, and that causes a stress on the family. So we want to try to make this a comfortable time and not a difficult time. So food's a big issue. Pack up a cooler, maybe bring those items that you know are going to work. Maybe you can mix some preferred food with some non-preferred food that they may have, or a lot of times I call them new foods. It's important to let the people you're visiting with know that your child doesn't do well with new foods, and so maybe we'll just try a few things and add a few things that they're familiar with. The other thing you want to look at is time with travel means time without activity. So how does your child do just sitting in a chair? Well, we know typically our kiddos here do not do well with that. So you want to plan activities they can do, whether you're traveling on a plane or you're in the car. Bring some new things that you know they'll enjoy. And those are the types of things you think about when you spend those few minutes planning for your own specific child. Sometimes it's an iPad, sometimes it's a Game Boy, sometimes it's a particular game or activity or puzzles. Bring those things and make them fresh and new so they're enticing. I would also recommend frequent breaks so that your child has an opportunity to move around. Now on an airplane, you can't do that, but plan your bathroom breaks accordingly. And remember, on airline flights, oftentimes you have to wait, and you really don't want to get stuck with that beverage cart going up and down the aisle. So you need to think ahead a little bit. That's a big key. Think ahead, plan for what you need to do. That's our real key component on doing any type of holiday or travel type of situation that you might encounter. Also think about comfort items, things that might make your child calmer. If there's certain clothing types, bring those comfortable clothings. I wouldn't start out with new things that you think they won't wear. It's just going to make it a more difficult trip for you. So these are just a few hints for you to think about when you're approaching that. But remember, think and plan prior to going.